Doohan on D-Day. Famed Star Trek actor James Doohan, a.k.a. Scotty, was shot 6 times during World War II. How did this happen? After leading his men through a minefield on Juno Beach and personally taking out 2 German snipers in the process, Doohan took 4 rounds in one of his legs, 1 in his hand, which ultimately resulted in him losing his middle finger, and 1 in his chest. The shot to the chest likely would have been fatal, except that he had a silver cigarette case there that deflected the bullet. He would later give up smoking, but at least he could say that being a smoker actually saved his life. Funny enough, the shots he took were not fired by the enemy, but rather by an overzealous Canadian gunman. After Doohan's unit was secured in their position for the night, he was crossing between command posts when a Canadian gunman spotted him and opened fire. Doohan originally joined the Canadian Forces at the age of 19, eventually being commissioned a lieutenant in the Royal Canadian Artillery. D-Day was the first and last action that he saw in the war. After recovering from his injuries, he became a pilot in the Canadian Air Force, but never flew in combat. Despite this, he was once called the craziest pilot in the Canadian Air Force when he flew a plane through 2 telegraph poles after slaloming down a mountainside just to prove it could be done. This act was not looked upon highly by his superiors, but earned him a reputation among the pilots of the Canadian Air Force. Bonus facts. As mentioned, contrary to what many people think, Doohan was not Scottish. He was Canadian. When he was auditioning for the role of the ship's engineer, he went over various accents for Gene Roddenberry for the character. After he finished, Roddenberry asked him which he liked best, and he responded, "Well, if you want an engineer, he better be a Scotsman because, in my experience, all the world's best engineers have been Scottish." Bonus fact 2. While great pains were taken in Star Trek to conceal the fact that Doohan was missing a middle finger, there are several episodes where this can be observed, such as Cat's Paw, Day of the Dove, and The Lights of Zetar. This can also be observed in a scene in Star Trek III The Search for Spock and in Star Trek V The Final Frontier. In the former, it can be observed when he hands McCoy parts for the transwarp drive, and in the latter when he's holding a bagged dinner which was given to him by Lieutenant Uhura. Bonus fact 3. Doohan was married 3 times in his life and fathered 4 children. He met his final wife, Wendy Brauenberger, when she was just 17 and he was 54, marrying her very shortly after their first meeting. The two had 3 children, the last in 2000, and remained married for 31 years until Doohan's death in 2005 at the age of 85. So I really hope you liked that video, and if you did like it, click like below and leave us a comment to let us know what you think. And also check out a couple of our other videos, which are linked to on the screen now, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos every day. Thanks for watching.